everyone, and welcome back to the Why We Disney podcast, the most magical podcast on the internet. We have such a fun host for you all today, and we have some new podcast topics, things that we haven't really talked about on the podcast before. So I'm super excited to get ready and get started with all of this. So let's jump on over into the episode.
What is up, Why We Disney fam? Happy Wednesday. We have an incredible episode prepared once again for you, talking about things like we've never talked about on the podcast. I'm so excited. So as always, I have my co-host Kara with me. And then we have an amazing guest who I cannot wait to introduce. And this is Randy. Down here, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see our faces. Hey, Randy, how are you?
Good. How about yourself?
We're doing awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us.
Anything. And whenever you told me, hey, you want to be a guest? Of course, I knew I had to take that day off because I really wanted to be a part of this.
Oh, my word. Well, we appreciate it so much. Thank you. So for our listeners who might not know who you are, where can they find you on Instagram?
Well, hello. My name is Randy Goes to Disney on Instagram. I started the blog just as something personal, fun to do, and it's always going to be like that. I always only focus on Disney, and that's pretty much it. I really love Disney to death. I've been going to Disney since I was, a baby, like fresh, like in the world baby. It's always been a Disney family, and I've always loved Disney. If I don't stumble over my words here, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're all good. That's so cool. So I'm so glad that you mentioned your past, like you've been going since you're a baby, right? So we always ask every guest why they Disney. So honestly, just in your own words, why do you love it so much? What makes it so giddy for you?
So why Disney is just because growing up, everyone, either my grandparents, my aunts, or my cousins worked there, or we always went there at least twice or three times a month. Growing up with it 25 minutes down the road, and I still live 25 minutes down the road. Not Epcot, but Disney in general was the place that we'd always go because it was always fun for us to do instead of, going to a local park or something like that. We'd go to the parks and enjoy our time together and spend a lot of good family memories that way. And with me, I really cherish the memories of Disney and seeing how Disney creates more and more memories for me every day that I go. That's why I continue to go to Disney. And I like to see all the magic that the cast members make, as well as me, myself. I love to make little magic moments, even though I'm not a cast member, because it's people that strive their whole life to come to Disney or bring their kids to Disney. And even people watching for me gives me the sense of hope and happiness that other people get whenever they come to the parks. And I'm so lucky that I can go every week. And some people, they strive for 5-10 years to take their family. And that's one thing that I love watching throughout the parks, is seeing that people are here to enjoy their time, enjoy the magic. And I get that feeling every time I go, regardless of I'm watching people, if I'm doing rides, if I'm doing shows, if I'm creating content, or if I'm just sitting around drinking a coffee and enjoying the park music, because everyone knows how much I love park music.
For sure. I love that you said that you create little magic moments for people. And I just want to say, you've created that for me. When I'm sitting at home, I'm watching through your stories and I feel like I'm there with you at Disney. So I think I've DM'd you a couple of times before, on a bad day that I've had. And I'm like, Randy, thank you so much. You've really just given me magic when I didn't have it at home today. So I know I just speak for myself, but I cannot be the only person that feels that way about what you're doing. Seriously.
And funny you say that, because I actually get those messages almost every time I go. People are just like, I've been having a bad day, or I really miss the parks. And I tell people all the time, if you're coming to the parks, let me know. I will go out of my way to make sure I have a day off or I have time off to come meet you in person, because that's the type of person I am. I love to see and meet people and talk to them, either about how they grew up or how Disney affected them, or how Disney's make them, the whole life goal, or how they want to do things. And that's one thing I strive to do in my stories, especially, is bring people along, hey, you're hanging out with me today. Let's go to Disney.
Yeah. I love it so much. So thank you for all that you do, Randy, seriously. And speaking of your Instagram, so your Instagram like tagline, right, is your favorite Disney dad in training. That is so funny. Like you have to have a story. Like how in the world did you come up with that?
Okay, so yeah, you said that before, and I've been thinking about putting it in my bio, and I'm about to just go ahead and put it in my bio. But I have a fun reel series that I'm working on for that, so be on the lookout for that. But favorite Disney dad in training, the biggest thing for me growing up, I've always been like the dad in the friend group. I've always made sure everyone is okay. I have everything packed in my bag for either whatever we're doing. We're going to Disney, we're going to hang out at a concert or whatever. I'm the one that you come to if you need help or if you need something. And so your favorite Disney dad in training just came to me because eventually I want to be a dad. You know, I want to have my own kids that I can be like, hey, we're doing this, you know, oh, you need fruit snacks? I got you. You need a Band-Aid? I got you. Because that's how I am. And I very much pack for the parks for all sorts of occasions. It's going to rain, flip-flops and an umbrella. Let's go. You know, oh, you're hungry in line? Here's some fruit snacks. Go ahead. You know, I got a spare bottle of water. I got a spare umbrella in my book bag. And that's how it always been for me. So I am your favorite Disneyland training, whether I'm wearing my dad hat or not. I love every bit of just being that person you can come to if you need something. You know, you need a power pack. I have it in my bag. I have either charger for your Android, your iPhone, your Samsung, whatever. I have it in my bag because I'm that friend that takes care of the group, whether it's a good day or a bad day. That's just how I like to do it.
That's great.
That is so cool. Like, let me just tell you, I'm not that person. Like, it's so minimal when I go to the park. Like, crap. Like, I forget my charger, my water bottle. Like, Randy is like the guy to go to Disney with. He like has everything you need all the time. I love that so much. So cool. Wow. The last thing for my little section here, but you have a special like family connection to the creating of Space Mountain. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's not Space Mountain. You're close enough. It's Spaceship Earth. But
Spaceship Earth, my bad.
You're okay. So it's kind of like a family secret that we talk about time from time, but it's not a very broadcasted thing, and that's okay because we like to just keep and cherish memories. My grandfather has always told me growing up and showed me pictures growing up that he was part of building of Spaceship Earth, and that he was one of the Imagineers that helped with the designing of it. And you know, he kind of always hinted at things and showed things whenever we were at the parks. And he showed some photos and stuff like that. But it's just a small family secret that we kind of keep to ourselves because at the end of the day, you know, whenever Epcot was getting built like that, there were so many Imagineers that you might completely look at them and think, oh, there's construction workers, but they're actually Imagineers. And they do that nowadays as well because they either have their Imagineer labeling on their hat or their vest. But back then it was very minimal. That's how they did it with their construction phase. It was like you'd have like a small little patch on there. You want to have this big bold letters that said Imagineer on it. So
that's so cool. That's so cool that you even just have that connection. And I just truly feel like even if like someone even picked up a piece and like put it somewhere or even had an opinion on it, like it's still really cool. I wanted to call that out. So that's really awesome.
Well, thank you.
Oh my gosh. I just like that. It's so great that you were able to share that with us on the podcast. And like people understand that Disney isn't just this like immaculate like Disney, right? It was actually handmade by people, and that's why there's so many family ties to it, and it's special to so many of us because like, you know, people made it, people built it, like the pyramids, but it's Spaceship Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So Randy, we talk about a lot of different things here on the podcast, and one thing that we haven't talked about so much is pin trading. Now, everyone knows that pin trading is like this fun, interactive activity that people can do in all of the parks, but it's fairly new. Fairly, right? So in some research, we saw that it was starting in 1999, maybe like late fall, and it's continuing, but it's like this huge thing. And in your own words, the Randy words, can you let the listeners know what pin trading is?
All right. So pin trading was actually a big thing that one person at Epcot came up to the board of directors and said, I think this would work. I found that out because this past year in 2020 was our 20th anniversary pin trading event for Walt Disney World, which is the spot where we actually started pin trading for all the parks, which is really cool. But it was a throw in idea that they were like, you know what, let's just throw money at it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And within the first 5 years, it took off so quick that Disney couldn't keep up with how big the demand was. So pin trading for me is just a fun activity that you can remember memories. My buddy Colby actually does a thing with his Instagram that he does. Every pin has a memory or has a story. And that is very true because a lot of these pins behind me, I remember getting, or a lot of pins I have throughout my collection, I remember getting. I remember the people I got it from, the story behind it, or even making little kids' days whenever they saw something in my lanyard that I wanted. And you're just like, you know what? I'll take your little hidden Mickey that you're going to trade me for something that, I maybe have a spare of, or I can get another one of. So pin trading for me, it just brings a lot of people together and it makes personalities shine and people to stop being so scared of cast members and other people. To actually be like, hey, I can talk to other people about my love of pin trading and no one's going to judge me for whatever else, I have going on. It's one thing that we can focus on, just like Disney. I love the Disney community because everyone loves Disney and most people, or I'm going to say 99% of the Disney community does not judge other people for other things outside of Disney because we are all one together. So that's how I like to do it.
Yeah,
definitely. And so like pin trading in the past, because when I was there in 2002, so it was all about the lanyards. You had all these pins on your lanyards, right? And I'm sure we all have them stowed away in our memory boxes. I see Randy looking around for his.
So the side of this bookcase is a pin lanyard hanging area. I have probably 12 lanyards sitting there. Some of them have a bunch of pins on them. Some of them don't because I would use to pick which one I wanted and put my trading pins on them for the day while I was going to the parks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I miss the lanyard days, but like now because of COVID, there's like a bunch of different restrictions. So can you speak on how it is trading right now I don't know if post-COVID is during COVID.
During / post COVID. Let's go with that. So it's very different from what we used to have it. Before COVID came about, people used to hunt cast members down throughout the stores, throughout the different pavilions, whatever, to find pins because it was always, especially whenever new Hidden Mickeys came out, it was always, we have to complete the set. And you can only get those from cast members through trading, which is the coolest thing in the world. But there was always boards everywhere and hidden little things. They still have it at Tower of Terror, to say the least. Whenever you come out to the photo spot where you can actually buy your photos, they have a book that they can open up and it's a pin board. And they have fun little things like that. Or let's say Star Tours, they used to have like a Yoda with a pin lanyard, or now they have a Millennium Falcon popcorn bucket that they actually cut and opened up into a pin board, which is the coolest thing in the world. But so pin boards are now ruling Disney because of the whole COVID restrictions, which is okay. A big thing that is fun with the pin boards, some places they'll sit there and like, all right, we'll spin the wheel and whatever color you get, you can only pick from that color square, which is always fun, and stuff like that. So pin boards are pretty much ruling Disney right now, and it's not as bad as people think. It's a lot of the times they have the newer pins on there, or newer traders would put like some starting pack pins on there, and oh, maybe I don't have that one for my collection, or that'll be a fun trader for later on during a pin event or something like that. Because outside of Disney, there are still pin events going on in the Orlando area, and they have their own type of restrictions, which is actually really cool because a lot of people from California that couldn't pin trade over there would fly over, and we do like an East meets West Coast type of thing, which is really cool because instead of online trading, you can sit there and actually meet people face to face instead of going to the parks and seeing each other, which is also really cool.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, pin trading is its own little world within Disney.
Yes, it very much is. And a lot of other if we go ahead and jump into it as well, a lot of other companies are following suit. Busch Gardens started theirs, Universal started theirs, and the thing is they only do pin trading with other guests as of right now, not with employees. Well, Busch Gardens does it with employees pre-COVID, but I'm not sure how they're doing it now because I haven't visited since. But Disney still is just pushing forward with different types of pins, and they have such a huge variety, especially with all the parks throughout the world, that it's just I mean, I'm surprised people are keeping count of how many pins like they've created. There's just so many pins and different type of pins out there, whether it's from Florida or California, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Shanghai, Paris. It's just you're always envied of one of the other parks because they have something better than yours and you want it so bad, or you collect that character and you want it so bad. And that's whenever online trading and personal shoppers and stuff like that come in handy. And sometimes you just might have to wait, a month for shipping just because that's how shipping is internationally. Yeah. But you will always get that pin that you want if you try your hardest for it.
So we're talking about the millions of pins that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Millions, all different kinds, all different characters. But do you have a favorite pin?
Favorite? To say the most. I mean, I could probably say I have a favorite pin, but at the end of the day, I mean, I have so many favorite or different types of character favorite pins that it's hard to just choose one. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of memories with a lot of the pins, but it's definitely hard to just pick one out of the whole collection I have as of right now.
Got it. If you guys don't mind, I'd love to share a story quick.
Go ahead.
I do have a favorite pin. And it's this little green Mickey right here. Those of you that are on YouTube can see it's this green Mickey, and you're probably wondering, why is this really generic pin your favorite? Well, in my 2019 trip, when I went, and I was sitting with my mom on where you can watch like the Epcot, like Rivers of Light, because we were waiting for the show. And this lady sat down next to me, and I was like, oh, your pins are cool. And we start chit-chatting. She was like, are you a collector? And I was like, no. Where am I going to put all these pins? Like, that's not something that I collect. And she was like, she grabbed this like right off her lanyard or bag or whatever she grabbed it off of, and she gave it to me. And she was like, here's the first pin in your collection. And I was like, oh my gosh, I almost started to cry, because like it's the epitome of the Disney community just like caring about you and wanting you to be a part of the journey. So this one is definitely my favorite pin. Now, I don't pin trade, but I do collect pins that are important. So like I have one or two to show here. Here's a pop pin because I've stayed at Pop Century. So like I don't get every pin, but I get the things that are important to me. And then here's Soarin', because that's one of my favorite rides. Yeah. Free Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which I need a pin for. So yeah, that's my pin.
So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. This is my first ever pin right here for everyone on YouTube. It is a Stormtrooper with a Mickey bar, and it says "Get a taste of the dark side." And this is probably one of my favorite pins, I guess you could say, just because it's the first pin I've ever had in my life, and I'm very, very happy with it. Let me put it back on the board there.
Kaycee, do you have any experience with pinning?
I don't. I want to say, like, when I was a kid, my mom bought us like lanyards and we had pins on them. I can't tell you where they are now. But no, I'm not I don't even own a pin. I don't even think I own a pin right now.
I think that you may be receiving one after my trip.
Oh,
join the pin community then.
Yes, join the pin. I just love like both of your stories so much, with like how you got started, and like Randy showed his first pin ever. And I just think, I don't know, I just think that's super cool. I think it's a testament to truly Disney and the community that we surround ourselves with. Like, we surround ourselves with people who like want you to be included, right? We accept you for who you are. And yeah, I just truly love that. I love that you both shared both of your pins. If you're not watching on YouTube, you need to hop over there right now and go look at these pins that they just showed. Very cool. Very cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, enough about pins. We have so much more to bring you guys. So we're going to pause for a quick ad break, and we'll be right back.
All right, right, welcome back, guys. We are going to jump right back in. Randy, again, just thank you so much for being a part of today's episode. I have a couple of questions for you about Disney post-COVID, because we know that Disney is, quite different from before, before the pandemic and all that stuff happened. So just a couple of questions to get us rounded out here. So what is one or two things that you missed most about Disney pre-COVID?
Okay, so pre-COVID Disney for me, what I really miss is just the interactions that you got to do with characters. That's one of my biggest things, is meeting characters. One of the big things that people go to Disney for, because you get to have that lifelong experience, or those photos that you just wouldn't have any other time. You go to Disney, you want to meet your favorite character that you grew up with or that you still love, and so on and so forth. And especially because they have little costumes, you can go meet Donald as a snake charmer instead of him in his normal costume, or he's doing some type of jester type of costume. And there's just so much you can do. So that's one thing I really miss about pre-COVID, is meeting my characters, because it's always fun. I used to go to the parks just to meet certain characters some days.
Yeah.
And then the next best thing for me is, even though I'm not a huge person whenever it comes to very busy days, but I do like the experiences you can have with people whenever it comes to rides. So single rider alliance, especially, a lot of the times I'll go to the parks by myself just for a couple hours and enjoy it while, my girlfriend's at work, or I just go in before work or whatever. And I get thrown in with someone on Everest, and they're like, oh, I'm just letting you know I'm a screamer. I'm like, that's fine. I'll scream with you, or like we'll be up sitting there and it's like, what are we doing for the photo? And they look at you like, oh, you want to take we're going to do like some type of matching. Yeah, let's do it. And it was always just fun, because then you can get other people to enjoy the moment more. Just because they're next to a stranger doesn't mean that they have to be all awkward and very quiet. You can have fun with it. You can always have fun with other people. So that's one thing I do miss about pre-COVID as well.
Hey, because you don't sit with anybody anymore. Dang. I would not even think of that. That is very true. They don't put you with people for single rider anymore. So very true. Very true. All right. So my next question is, what is one thing, if you could make any change about Disney right now, what is one thing that you would change?
There's one thing that I would change about Disney. Wow. All right. Well, that's a good question. That is a really good question. I feel like we could probably bring more characters into the parks than how things are currently. The cavalcades are fun. The random character appearances are fun, but I feel like they could up that a little bit more. You have so much opportunity throughout the different lands, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, or the different pavilions, that you could even have characters out there to, say hi. And even, I'm going to go ahead and say that going to Universal that one day with my girlfriend and her friends, I saw how they were doing it, and it worked out really well. And I feel like Disney could do the same way. I understand they're too scared of larger crowds building up, but, Disney kind of has experimented in Bab 2 with our favorite Kylo Ren, stormtroopers, so on and so forth. And they have the dots where you're supposed to stand, but I feel like they can incorporate that more and more in the different parks and different areas of those parks. And so we can see more of our favorite characters that way.
Yeah, I agree. I Kara, don't you think so? That would be ideal if they could just bring back.
Now, I was going to ask, are you asking pre-COVID or right now?
Well, just right now, I guess. So my one thing that I was thinking about was I would take away the mask and be fine.
I want to say that as well. Yeah. But that's just a big skew with a lot of people. And if you're for masks or for against masks, I completely understand. It's, it's your own views. And if you feel comfortable with a mask on, feel free to have a mask. And that's how I feel. So
my answer.
Yeah.
Bring back fast passes.
I knew it.
Pay it until it comes back. Bring them back.
That would be so great.
I knew you were going to say that. When I was creating these questions, that Kara and I know each other so well that I'm like, Kara's is definitely one thing that she would change, is she would bring back fast passes for sure.
You're absolutely right.
So Randy, Disney World is adding so many new things to so many new things are coming, and we're so pumped about like Remy's, all kinds of great things coming. And I want to know, like, what are you hands down most excited about that Disney is bringing new, I guess?
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you guess first because I want to see how well you know me.
Oh, like Tron, maybe, Randy? I don't know.
You got it.
Shut
I'm so
up.
ready for Tron. So a lot of people, if you followed me from my early days, a lot of people understood that I actually daily rode a motorcycle for 5 years. And I love the whole idea of riding bikes. I still ride my motorcycle every once in a while, but it's like having a car makes things a lot easier. And I finally just said, you know what, I finally need a car again because I'm tired of riding the bike every day. But Tron, just especially as a film growing up, was always like, that would be so cool, you know, a light cycle and doing all this. And the fact that we, you know, it's a copy paste from our other park, but it's just so amazing that it deserves to be at here in Walt Disney World. And I'm really, really excited for it because I just can't wait to be in the movie itself. And that's just my biggest thing.
I'm so glad, and I'm so proud of myself that I guessed that right. But I don't know why. Maybe when we did meet up in Disney that one time, we talked about Tron for a few minutes, is why I said that, because we were really pumped about it.
Well, so it was funny because I remember us, you walked by me like an hour or two earlier in Magic Kingdom, and that day I actually got interviewed by the news, and I was like, wow, she has a purple wobble bag. That's actually really cool. And I was like, you know, she's way ahead. I'm not going to like go disturb her or whatever. And then we happened to be both walking out of Adventureland. And I was like, hey, I saw you earlier. I just want to let you know I love your book bag. And then we ended up talking. And I was like, yeah, I do Disney Instagram. And you're like, I do too. And then you're like, yeah, my friends are here. And I just remember they meeting up with you. And I think it was Brooke that was like, oh, you finally met Randy. And I was like, wait, who are you? Because we followed each other for the longest time, but we didn't recognize each other with the masks on.
Yes.
And that was just like the funniest thing in the world. And just the fact that you guys invited me to hang out for the rest of the day and enjoy a little bit of magic and fun, it was always a blast. And I remember all of us on Small World, like, I want to be on the projector, I want to be on the goodbye, I want to be on the goodbye. And I got both screens and everyone was mad at me.
Oh my God, literally said Randy twice. I was furious. Of course.
Of course.
So fun.
Well, we're talking about, like, you're talking about Tron, the things that are coming. Okay. But if one thing had to go, that's right. We're on to the game section. I'm going to give you two choices. If Walt himself had to choose, which one has to go? Rapid fire, no explanation.
You said Walt or myself? Are we thinking Walt wise? Because I feel
yourself. I'm just saying.
I'm about to say because I would get really critical. I would get really critical during that because I know how Walt is about his skylines, and there's a lot of ugly skylines now.
Oh yes.
Yes.
All right. So Randy's gonna answer, Kaycee, and then myself. Rapid fire. 3, 2, 1, go. Animal Kingdom or Epcot?
Animal Kingdom.
Epcot.
Animal Kingdom. Kaycee, I knew it. Okay. Next, Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios?
Hollywood Studios.
Magic Kingdom?
Question mark? Really? I would say Hollywood Studios. No explanation.
Star Wars Studios now. Ugh.
I love Star Wars.
All right. Space Mountain or Splash?
Splash.
Splash.
Splash. Marvel Universe or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Really? Oh yeah, Star Wars. But you're a Kylo Ren. Okay. I'm explaining things and I'm ruining my own. Yeah. Okay. Buzz or Woody?
Woody.
Woody.
Buzz.
As I look at my Toy Story wall.
Maybe he didn't hear you.
And the last one, Donald or Mickey?
Mickey.
Mickey.
Donald's number one. Donald's number one.
No. Oh my God.
Randy, I specifically put this
Donald
one in here because
one.
you are Donald. You are like the Donald fan of all Donald fans. Like, I'm telling you.
Donald is number one.
I get it.
Oh,
Well, you are so much fun. Thank you, Randy, so much for joining us. Like, we appreciate everything you do for the community and like who you are as a person. Before we log off here, can you please remind the listeners where they can find you to share in that joy?
Of course, thank you for having me. It's been a really good time. My name is Randy Goes to Disney on Instagram. I do a personal blog of all my experiences at Disney, and also try to bring a little bit of Disney news and a little bit of Disney magic to everyone's life, because that's something that I want everyone to experience whenever you're not at the parks. I want to be able to bring that magic into your life. If you're having a stressful day, if it's raining outside and it's sunny in Florida and you want to watch my story and go along in the park with me, feel free to.
Thank you so much, Randy. You're awesome. So guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Why We Disney podcast, the most magical podcast on the internet. Please don't forget, guys, if you are not already, make sure you follow us on Instagram, you subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure that you like our Facebook group, and we're on TikTok now, guys. We have a Pinterest, all of the things. Oh, and the newsletter, this just hit me. Make sure that to click the link in our bio on our Instagram and sign up for our newsletter. We have our first round going out soon. So very exciting. Make sure you sign up for that newsletter, put in your email to never, ever miss anything with the Why We Disney podcast. But Randy, thank you so much for joining us. Kara, you're amazing as always. We guys hope you have a magical rest of your Wednesday. We love you, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
See you real soon.